Well, hello and welcome to Never on the Back Foot. Tonight we dwell into India sports for the all exciting Sri Lanka tour. Why I say all exciting is because of the number of rumors, the reports, and everything that is just getting leaked to the media. And finally, we have our squads right in front of us. And I think this can be called a major move because the BCCI has announced Surykumar Yadav as the new T20 skipper. We have Shubman Gill, the vice captain for both the formats. Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma are back in. They're going to be featuring in the 50-over format. That was never in doubt. And we have a lot of new entrants like Harshit, Rana. We have Riyan, Parag, who's earned his ODI call-up as well. And we have a very interesting and eclectic mix of names, who have made their way into this GG era squad, so to say. And of course, joining me on the podcast today is Sanchit Desai. He's an ardent cricket fan and enthusiast. We have been, in the talks to have this conversation for a long time. And finally, Sanchit has made time for us today ahead of his all-important exams. But today, the focus is, of course, our discussion. So, warm welcome to you, Sanchit. Thank you so much for joining us today. And to all our viewers as well, please do ask me your questions. Our expert, Sanchit, will answer your questions with all his expertise as well. So, yeah, without further ado, I think let's get started. So, Sanchit, first things first, how you doing today? And yeah, what's up with you?
Firstly, thank you, Neha, for calling me on the show. And I know it's been a while. I think almost 2-3 months have passed. How time flew by. Like when last time we spoke, IPL, we were talking about the IPL, how IPL is gonna go, how the build up to the World Cup is gonna go, and now here we are, 3-4 months later. India being the world champions, of course, we'll be talking about that. So if you talk about my mood and the overall mood of the Indian fans right now, we are pretty much chill. We are pretty much happy because of why not? Like literally around 28 days ago, 27, 28 days ago, India created history by lifting the T20 World Cup for the second time. So we are now officially entering into a new era, the GG era. So really excited to see what this tour and what the future holds for Indian cricket.
Absolutely, Sanchit, and even the kind of coverage that you did during the World Cup, right? I think that video of yours where you were reacting to India's win live lives rent free in all of our heads. It was such an organic reaction to what was something that was long awaiting, and I'm sure we can talk an entire podcast about India's World Cup win. But let's talk about that Zimbabwe series, right? I think India's performance in that Zimbabwe series started off on a rocky note, but eventually caught up steam, and India swept the series 4-1. So, how pleased were you with India's performance in that series?
Very pleased. I mean, I know that there was quite a lot of panic which was created after the first T20 when we lost that game. But it happens. I mean, Zimbabwe is a good T20 side. We have seen that in the past and recent past and how they have been playing in this format. So that was like a good wake-up call, I would say, for this young side. But after that, you saw that we just steamrolled Zimbabwe in the remaining 4 matches. Overall, as a fan, I'm really happy with how we actually approach the series. I think what was interesting to me was the combination that we used in that T20 series. There were a few games where we actually tried 4 openers in our top 4. So it may not have been like an ideal situation for a normal match, but I get the point why we tried that. We wanted to prepare for the big one, that is 2026 World Cup, which we will be playing in India and Sri Lanka for that matter. So I know what kind of we saw what kind of a mindset that was from India's point of view. But overall, really happy with how the tour went, especially for someone like Abhishek Sharma, who scored 100 in the second T20, and Ruturaj Gaikwad, who batted at different position but still managed to do well. Unfortunately, couldn't make his place in this tour. But apart from that, I think really happy with the overall squad as well.
Certainly. And I think interestingly, the names you bring up are names we are going to be discussing later who kind of didn't make the cut. And it is unfortunate, cricket is like that matter of, luck and chances as well. And what are your thoughts of the squads, chosen for the Sri Lanka tour? I mean, you have said that you're pleased with the kind of selections, but are you entirely pleased with all the names you see? And do you think it's a formidable, contingent heading into Sri Lanka?
Uh, I feel that I'm at a little bit of a mixed opinion. I mean, when the squad was announced, obviously there was quite a lot of outcry on how certain names were missing, especially someone like Ruturaj Gaikwad, and even Abhishek Sharma was amongst the talks that why is he missing. And there were a lot of surprising names in the ODI squad as well. Of course, we are so happy that finally the two senior men, Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma, are playing the ODI series. That was what we really required going into the build-up for the next big one in 2027. So it's good. It's always good to see both of them playing in the ODI series. But when we talk about the T20 squad, Yes, I feel that someone like an Abhishek Sharma, who did so well in his debut tour in Zimbabwe, at least he should have been in the squad, because I feel that he's someone who can really do well in this particular format, especially knowing that he also has a knack of bowling 1 or 2 overs up front. So when was the last time we had a spin bowling all rounder in our top four in our limited over squad? I think it takes me back to the 2011 World Cup winning squad, when we had 2 or 3 names already, someone like a Sehwag, a Tendulkar, for that matter. So we need those kind of names in our limited over squad, I feel, just to add that little bit of bowling depth. So that is why I was gutted with Abhishek Sharma. I feel that he should have been given another go. But apart from that, really pleased with Suryakumar Yadav being named as the T20 skipper. I know that people will say that, "Arey yaar, Hardik Pandya ko rehna chahiye tha," but I do get the justification of why Surya was named ahead of Hardik. I think it's due to the fitness point of view. We have seen Hardik being unfortunate with his fitness record over the last 2-3 years. So I get why Surya is the best fit. I think arguably we can say that he's the best player of this particular format for Team India right now. So obviously he'll love enjoying the leadership role, and he did captain well. I think after the World Cup ended, when the entire India was mourning over the 19 November game, but the T20 series which was followed, I think Surya really captained well in that particular series. So really pleased with the entire, like, how the leadership has actually planned out for Team India. But yeah, थोड़ा सा मतलब mixed opinions तो है with certain players.
Yeah, Sanchit, definitely we will pick your brains on these, feelings that you have as well. Let's take a few comments here. Akshat goes on to add, new era begins in 3 days. And actually, my next question was going to be about, what are your thoughts on the start of this new Gautam Gambhir era? There's just so much, I don't know, excitement. There's a little bit of nervousness. If we're moving on from an era that was dominated by Rahul Dravid and now on to Gautam Gambhir, I know he's coming in with a great CV, having won with KKR and everything. But do you think, Sanchit, it's a step in the right direction, and this whole panic will eventually settle and the nerves will just disappear?
Exactly. I think a transition was required. I mean, obviously, it was a fairy tale ending for someone like a Rahul Dravid, whom we desperately wanted to him to hold a world trophy, an ICC trophy, which he really required even during his playing days. So that was a fairy tale ending. But of course, as they say, that the show must go on, and we are entering into a new era, the GG era, as Akshat has mentioned in the comment section. And I'm really pleased with the appointment, because Gautam Gambhir is someone I feel that who is pretty serious about his game, and he is someone who will not shy away from taking those hard calls, the bold decisions. Some of them have already been reflected in this tour itself with some of the names. So yes, there will be people who will be debating about certain calls, and definitely people will be having mixed opinions. But as long as the team management focuses on the bigger picture, and as long as they have a clarity of what they wish to do for the next few events, I think we'll be pretty much sorted. And Gautam Gambhir is someone who is definitely going to give us that confidence for us Indian fans. And I'm really pleased with how the press conference went, which was recently hosted before the team traveled to Sri Lanka. The way that they answered certain questions, and there were uh, lots of actually rumors about certain roles and certain reasons why a particular player was not picked. But the way that they handled the questions, the way that the explanation that were given, namely the Hardik Pandya, Suryakumar Yadav thing. So really happy with how the press conferences happened. So for me personally, I'm really happy that press conferences have started becoming a norm, because if you look at the scenario in Indian cricket 2-3 years down the line, we never saw press conferences happening. But now for a tour like Sri Lanka, press conferences being happening, I think it's a good change. So really happy with the start. Hopefully, 2-3 years down the line, we'll see good fortunes to come.
Definitely. And while, we look at all the positive signs that's been happening, Nikhil goes on to add that Sri Lanka, on the other hand, handing over captaincy like pamphlets, there is a certain lack of clarity. We see a lot of, changes happening there. I think one of the things we'd hope, at least in our Indian setup, is to not have captaincy being, just swung around here and there. There's a clear roadmap, right? With Sky as the captain till that T20 World Cup.
Yeah. I think yes, there should be a roadmap till the T20 World Cup, because I think that is the next big thing for Indian cricket at the moment. Yes, we talk about the Champions Trophy, but of course, yeah, World Cup is a World Cup, whether it's a T20 or an ODI. So T20 World Cup definitely has to be one of the priorities, along with the World Test Championship, But yeah, I feel that Suryakumar Yadav being named as the captain right now itself shows that we are moving into that direction. So hopefully that the team management can stick by it, irrespective of whatever the results come. I mean, obviously, we don't want to see bilateral bullies and ICC chokers. I mean, we have been doing that for the last 10 years or so. So it's okay if results don't go our way in bilateral series, but we need to have a clarity of what the leader, what the skipper really wants to do with this team, what the coach really wants to do with this team. So we as fans should be patient right now. अभी just World Cup जीते. Let the team management enter into this transition and let us enjoy the next few years.
Absolutely. And I think your fans also, Sanchit, agree with you. MVP Sanchit, spitting facts here. And that is actually very true, Sanchit, because I think as fans, we tend to get very impatient. So it's important to just trust the process. And a few results might not go our way in this new era. But, let's just try to wait it out. And another interesting point to that, I kind of wanted your thoughts was the fact that Shubman Gill, right now, he has been named the new vice captain for both the ODI and T20 squads, which I think a lot of people again did not see coming because you had Hardik Pandya kind of occupy that role. So they assumed that he would continue there. So what do you think? Again, do you think there's like a pipeline or like a pathway for him to, eventually become captain?
I think yes, because knowing what the decision has been made, and the Zimbabwe tour itself was like a reflection of where the future will be heading towards for Indian cricket. And personally, if you ask me, I'm really not too pleased. I'm really not too happy with the call of Shubman Gill making the cut as the vice captain. But if the team management feels that he's the right choice, then I think we should be sticking by him. So ऐसे ना हो कि यार मतलब few months down the line, because of peer pressure, because of media pressure, he's suddenly removed of the mix, because we don't want to see that happen, especially when we have such a good number of months to prepare for the next few ICC events. It's okay, people will not like it, people may like him, people may not like his captaincy, but if the coach, if the head coach, if the team management really wants to see Shubman Gill as the next skipper, then what better to test it out few months down the before the big World Cups happen. And of course, we still have the luxury of having someone like a Virat Kohli, someone like a Rohit Sharma in our squad in the ODIs at least. So a good set of players for someone like a Shubman Gill to learn from while he makes his transition into a potential Indian captain down the line. So at the moment, it will be too harsh to actually judge on whether it's a right call or a wrong call. But if the team management has done it, then as fans, we can just trust the team management and let's see where it takes us.
Absolutely. And I think these are those decisions that we can only tell ourselves that, time will tell us where this would kind of take us. And talking about the T20 side of things, I mean, after weeks of speculation, we finally got our answer with, Suryakumar Yadav being appointed as that T20 skipper. But you also had the likes of Hardik Pandya, Rishabh Pant, Shubman Gill, and Jasprit Bumrah, right, who could have been those potential captains. So, I do you also hope that there has been this communication with these players that, hey, we're looking at Sky as the potential captain because we're looking at that next World Cup. You guys are still going to be in that leadership group and scheme of things?
Exactly. I think the conversation should have happened, definitely, because there were lots of big names who were rumored to be the next captain after Rohit Sharma announced retirement from this format. And definitely Suryakumar Yadav, Hardik Pandya, and even Shubman Gill. Shubman Gill was a surprise for me in terms of the pecking order. I felt that it would have been either Hardik Pandya or someone like a Suryakumar Yadav to take over the role. But Shubman Gill was a surprise for me, definitely. Rishabh Pant, I'm really not too sure, especially in the T20 format, because he has been on and off in this particular format in the squad. So he was not really in my consideration, at least in this particular format, but definitely a captain to watch out for, maybe in the whites. We will never know. That is a conversation for the later future. But in terms of T20, I think yes, it should have been either Suryakumar Yadav or Hardik Pandya, and the justification given by the team management on why they chose Suryakumar over Hardik Pandya was fair, at least according to me. I think I would love to see what kind of views have our comment section has in terms of whether they agree with Surya over Hardik as a potential captain or not. That would be great to see. But for me personally, I'm happy with the justification that they gave. And Surya definitely has at least 4 to 5 years in this particular format, given the way that he's playing. So yeah, good things to come.
Definitely. And again, I think we have some very interesting comments coming up here that says, I think the it is the right time to start the road to the 2026 T20 World Cup, as outlined by Sanchit also earlier. And new era under Gigi, and no better time to regroup as a squad and start the preparations. Again, each bilateral series, as much as people, just keep dismissing it, is important when you're looking at that larger picture as well. And again, just looking at the T20 side of things, you have the likes of Yashasvi Jaiswal, Sanju Samson, and Rinku Singh, right, who are a part of the victorious T20 World Cup squad. They find themselves in contention here as well. So, Sanchit, were you happy that were you happy that these guys will finally get a more consistent, game time and can finally just shine?
Definitely, yes. I think being a part of the World Cup winning squad, be it a T20 World Cup, be it an ODI World Cup, it actually creates a different sense of confidence in you. Even if you haven't played a game, even if you have not been a part of the playing 11 minutes, it's fine. But being a part of that environment, being the part of the squad which will go down in history as the World Cup winning squad, it itself creates a sense of confidence. So someone like a Yashasvi Jaiswal, who definitely has more than 10 years to contribute to this particular Indian side. Sanju Samson, yes, he's been unlucky over the last decade or so, but still he's not that quite old. So definitely he will get his flowers in this format and even in the other formats as well. So these players shouldn't be too disheartened, like in terms of not getting enough minutes. But yeah, I think in this era we will see new faces coming together, new options being tried out. So hopefully we'll see a good number of games for him.
Certainly. And again, let's have a look at our comment section where, we have Srinitya who goes on to add that Surya has the potential to lead. I agree with you, Sanchit. I think we lost Sanchit momentarily there, but yeah, he's back on. And let's take this other comment as well that says India are numbered to play at least 30 to 35 T20 matches till that T20 World Cup. They have to say the IPL kids have a chance to, shine their fortunes under GG. Equal opportunities will be given to all. So, Sanchit, this seems like it is going to be likely, right? They will keep experimenting till they find that right combination, and every series is a lead up to that World Cup, right?
Definitely, as I think T20 matches, not just the international games, but even the IPL is going to play a massive role in terms of how we prepare for the World Cup. So I think we only have just one IPL season before the next big T20 World Cup. I think it is supposed to be held in March 2026. So we just have the 2025 IPL to actually look upon. But apart from IPL, we also have a couple of Syed Mushtaq Ali trophies. Yes, I know that it's not that quite talked in terms of importance. But if we are looking at the T20 picture, it definitely has to be looked upon, especially to check which are the upcoming talents, which are the players who can definitely make the cut, be the surprise picks for the World Cup, because we have seen quite a lot of names actually coming up from those ranks, performing in the IPL as well. So exciting time, not just for international cricket, but overall Indian cricket. If you follow domestic, if you follow international, both of them. So really an exciting time for the next 1 or 2 years.
Definitely. I think cricket will, occupy a large part of our screen and our attention, during this time that run up to the World Cup as well. And I actually saved up this question for this part of our conversation where I want to talk about the spinners. So Nikhil goes on to add that he's interested to see how the GG and co, company prepare for Ashwin's successor, because Washi seems to be that, front runner with limited opportunities in red ball. So Sanchit, what are your expectations and hopes for Washington Sundar? I mean, he's such a remarkable player. Every single time steps up. We've seen, injuries have plagued his career, but finally a consistent run.
Exactly. I think I have been really a decent admirer of Washington Sundar, especially since the way he actually performed in the famous Border Gavaskar Trophy. I felt that he could have been a potential number 5 batter for India in the longer format, given the way that he has been batting and the technique that he has to bat in that particular team. But unfortunately, as you rightly said, injuries have really plagued his career, and it really hasn't gone down well with him. So hopefully he can keep himself fit. I'm really not too sure about his power hitting game at the moment. I feel that it really needs to be worked upon if he is to take over someone like a Ravindra Jadeja in the longer run in this particular format. But still, that's a little bit far away. Hope the current thing for him should be that to keep himself fit, to get maximum opportunities in this particular setup and play maximum games. But apart from that, he's a quality player, quality talent. But we really have lots of good spin bowling talent already in this particular domestic setup. So we shouldn't really be worried about identifying who can be our as successor, especially in the longer format, I would say, because Ashwin definitely has at least 1 or 2 years left in him. But yeah, we will potentially see quite new faces in terms of spin bowlers in the upcoming home season. Maybe let's see.
Yeah, fingers crossed, exciting times nonetheless there. But even just looking at our spin bowling reserves, especially in the T20 side of things, you have the likes of Akshar Patel, Ravi Bishnoi, and Washington Sundar. So they form, compact spin bowling department and trio there. So your takeaways on this trio to just kind of step up and make a mark for themselves?
Definitely, yes. I think it's a very important trio for the future of Indian cricket also. But I feel that it's all about how you actually take care of yourself in terms of injuries, because India is definitely going to play lots of matches, and we will see new players being tried and tested out. So from the team management point of view, they really need to be patient with certain number of players. They shouldn't really make their judgment too early, because there will be times where you feel that a certain player is not finding his rhythm, not finding his timing. But if you feel that that player is to be looked upon for the next big ICC event, then you should give him time. I know that people will be like, yeah, isko time diya, isko nahi time diya. But if you as a team management are very clear that you want this particular player, it's okay to give him as many opportunities as you want. But you should be clear on what you really wish to seek in terms of squad building. I think that is what we did well when we were actually winning trophies 10 years ago. But now when we recently broke the ICC jinx that we were suffering from over the last decade, now we can actually play with a little bit of free mind. We got the monkey off our back. So clarity in terms of team management's thinking is really important. So hopefully we be patient, not just us fans, but also the team management.
Definitely, because I think here is the, where this comment also makes sense, that if you just look at the depth, there are a few players who are going to play that T20 and ODI series. It's a good balance across the formats. For all the people getting worried that, hey, this name didn't make the cut, that one didn't, I still think, we should trust our players who have been selected. And just talking about that Washington Sundar point as well, I mean, he's a brilliant player, right? With the bat and the ball. He's a versatile player who can play at any position wherever asked to. Have not seen a player with injuries at almost every ball. That is a fair point. I mean, injuries have been his biggest enemy, and I hope we don't get to see a lot of that. And we have one more comment that goes on to say that this series is going to be very closely looked at, because we have to see how we approach as a team, and also what Gautam Gambhir's approach looks like. No better time to experiment as a sport, which is again a very fair point. And it also kind of brings me to my next aspect of looking at the pace department, right? Again, a lot of people are like, what are these selections like? You have Arshdeep Singh, you have Khalil Ahmed, and Mohammad Siraj, who will, again form your pace trio. So, how convinced were you with this? Because in the Zimbabwe series, though, you were experimenting with Mukesh Kumar, you had Tushar Deshpande, and they kind of, don't make the cut here. So, Sanchit, are you happy with how the pace department looks like?
I think given the way that we have been going forward with experimenting, obviously we expected Jasprit Bumrah to not be there, and Shami is still a little bit off at the moment in terms of his recovery. So pretty much happy. I mean, Arshdeep, we know what he's capable of. He's done well in the World Cup recently, and he can be the leader of this bowling attack at the moment. Yes, we still have Mohammad Siraj, who did not get enough games in the World Cup, but he's still a quality bowler, and he definitely enjoys playing against Sri Lanka, given the record that he has against this particular side. So pretty much happy. I mean, it it is important to see what kind of a role someone like a Shivam Dube plays right now, because if he is like set in the playing 11, then will he be bowling those 2 overs? Assuming that Hardik Pandya is going to be used as a 4 over bowler like we saw in the World Cup. So if Hardik Pandya is our third pacer in this particular squad, then will Shivam Dube will be bowling 1 or 2 overs if he's in the squad or not? So those kind of questions we will be getting answer. If he can bowl those 1 or 2 overs, I think it's really good. But apart from that, nothing too alarming. Yes, we have lots of options already in this particular format. But yes, as you rightly said, there will be series, there will be tours where we will be trying and testing different set of players. We still have almost 1.5 year left to go. So this squad may not be like not even the 15% confirmed squad for the T20 World Cup up in the next 2 years. So we'll definitely see some new faces. But at the moment, for a start, pretty much happy.
Yeah, fair enough. Does look convincing. And I think Akshat had asked this question to us early on, of why is Harshit Rana in the ODI squad instead of being in the T20 squad for this series? So, Sanchit, have you also given this a thought? Because we have seen Harshit Rana, do well for India in that, I think it was the Emerging Asia Cup. Then we saw him do well for KKR as well. Again, was it a dicey call, this one?
Yeah, I mean, I expected Harshit Rana to be a part of this Indian setup pretty soon, knowing what kind of team management is coming. Because obviously, you as a team head coach will definitely want to bring in players you worked with in the past. And Harshit Rana definitely has been one of those players who really has that fire in him. I mean, we have seen that in the domestic circuit as well. We have seen that in the IPL also. So definitely, it was just a matter of time when he makes the cut to Indian cricket. But on it was a surprise that he got selected in the ODIs instead of T20s. But it's still fine. I mean, we look at this particular tour from two ways. We are looking at it from preparing for the T20 World Cup point of view, and the other way you can even look at it from giving players game time. So there are certain players who are not in the T20 squad, but they are in the ODI squad. That doesn't mean that they are not being looked in this particular format, but it just means that they just want to try out certain players for the longer format. So if you look at it from a positive point of view, you can say that Harshit Rana will be bowling more number of overs in the ODI format if he's selected, rather than not even getting 1 or 2 overs in the T20 squad if he was there. So from game time point of view, from seeing how they actually fare in the Indian circuit, it's fine. I mean, we see certain teams playing ODI as an extended T20 cricket. We have seen India playing that in the past. So it's fine. I mean, it's too early to say that we are looking at the 2027 World Cup already. But from game time point of view, pretty much fine. I mean, with it.
Yeah, I think that is a very refreshing perspective, because oftentimes we obsess on players not making it to certain formats. That I think this is a very welcome perspective. And we have another comment that goes on to say that we have to work with the squad, that is selected every time. Everyone should get good game time. A point that you reflected. Given the number of T20 matches coming up, only then we will be able to build a good balanced squad for that 2026 T20 World Cup. And another comment also goes on to say that in T20, when you have two goats retire, it is of course big shoes to fill in. But given the captaincy experience many have in IPL and also the players who play a lot of domestic, they will be able to adapt well. I think, yeah, when you look at IPL and the kind of quality of cricket that's played, it's almost on par with international cricket, right? And even IPL is streets ahead when it comes to other franchise leagues, right?
Definitely, yes. I think in terms of handling pressure, I don't think our players will have that problem, especially in a World Cup or the other sort. But it was just the monkey off the back which was actually causing us those issues while crossing the final hurdle in the last 10 years or so. But finally, now we have actually got rid of that curse. So maybe we can see these kind of players playing freely, playing without any burden of not winning an ICC trophy for 10 years or so. So hopefully that this is the way forward, and it will be very interesting to see the kind of approach that, I mean, Jian's point of view is really important, because we don't want to see certain amount of players being lost in this particular process while trying, because we have seen some players who were tried out at the start of the road to the World Cup, but then while we got closer to the World Cup, they were nowhere to be seen. They were nowhere in the pecking order. So it is important for the team management to identify maybe 25 to 30 pool of players 2 years before the World Cup and say that, okay, this is my set of players. In the coming tours, coming series, we will try out these players only. Assuming that all of them are fit. Apart from that, we will definitely try out other talents as well. But you need to identify core 30, core 25 players to try and test in the upcoming years or so. So that should be the way forward, I feel.
Absolutely. And I think, series like this gives us a good indicator of where that is headed. And, he also goes on to add that we have to manage workload of many other senior players like, Hardik Pandya, you have Jasprit Bumrah and Kuldeep Yadav, especially given the injury history these guys will have to, look to give them that proper game time and rest, which is such an important point because with the amount of cricket these players are playing, I think somewhere it just gets really stressful for them as well, right? So let's see how that kind of plays out. And Nikhil, of course, has had to add this point of no one's more eager for the series than Siraj because, man, the kind of performances he puts up every single time the opposition is Sri Lanka, I think we can do another podcast episode, just on that. And I think, Sanchit, earlier in our conversation, we were talking about the names that didn't make the cut. Of course, we have to talk about Abhishek Sharma and Ruturaj Gaikwad, who I think had a great series, right, versus Zimbabwe. And unfortunately, they don't make the cut here. So, were you like a little disappointed to not see their names? And this could have been, again, a great opportunity to develop and nurture this duo.
Definitely, yes. I think more than Abhishek Sharma, I would say I feel bad for someone like a Ruturaj Gaikwad. Abhishek is still young. Abhishek still, it was just his debut series, and we knew that when the seniors come back, when the big names come back, he will be missing out given the options that we already have in the top order. But for someone like a Ruturaj Gaikwad, if you look at his past record in the last 7 T20 matches that he played, T20 international, I think he has an average close to 70 and also has 100 in international cricket already in T20s. So for someone like a Ruturaj Gaikwad, now also captaining one of the biggest IPL teams at the moment, not making the cut even in the squad for that matter, itself has to be a big bummer. And that is where somewhere personally I feel that making Shubman Gill the captain, making Shubman Gill one of the leaders of this side will prove to be a little bit of a problem for India, because if you look at it from player to player point of view, I personally feel that Ruturaj Gaikwad is best fitted for this T20 side compared to someone like a Shubman Gill, and that is where I think he will be pretty much unlucky going forward. So it will be interesting to see how he makes his way back into this score, makes his way back into the T20 squad, because you already have lots of big openers already in the squad. So I mean, that is the problem. Problem of plenty has always hurt a lot of players in our country. So hopefully Ruturaj Gaikwad is not the new addition to this unfortunate list, but he's a quality player. I mean, we want to see him soon enough. So hopefully it is just a temporary problem to have, and we'll find a solution for it pretty soon.
Yeah, I mean, he's too good of a player to be ignored long term. And, now leading CSK, of course, it's a big, massive responsibility. And we see him, doing reasonably well as a captain and as a player. And we have some interesting comments coming in our comment section as well. Already a bold call taken by, Gautam Gambhir to not name Hardik as captain, and even the vice captain, knowing his injury history. And it was a very fair point made, Sanchit. You need to be fit for most of the games, as you rightly said. And, yeah, if Hardik's workload is more important given the stability he gives in the team, is what he goes on to add. And yeah, this series, I'm very excited to see Akshar, to see how he adapts to both formats, because I'm sure he's on the verge of replacing Jaddu's shoes. Jaddu is rested in the ODIs as per Gautam Gambhir, but we need him for the tests. So again, Sanchit, when you look at Akshar Patel, do you think he's that like for like replacement for Ravindra Jadeja? I mean, we saw the T20 World Cup; it gave us a very good glimpse of things in tests as well. Versus England, that series, we saw some remarkable performances. So yeah, are we building up Akshar Patel to be that next replacement for Jaddu?
Definitely, yes. I think I have been a big fan of Akshar Patel, the way that he has actually revolutionized himself. Because I remember 10 years ago, one of the most unfortunate players in Indian cricket was Akshar Patel. He was always making the ODI squad, he was always making the T20 squad, but somehow was not able to make it to the playing 11 because of already the quality spinners that we had. But now, finally, when he made his test debut against England, he became England's biggest nemesis when he started bowling against those batters. And now we have already seen him actually making his way. I think he's one of the most improved players, I would say, in the last 5 to 6 years. I would say, because Akshar Patel's biggest criticism was that he was not a good bowler, but he was a dependable batter in terms of handling the all-rounder pressure. But now recently you have seen him develop himself in both the departments, and even the fielding point of view. I mean, who could forget that amazing catch that he took in the World Cup as well? So he is someone who is going to be playing a vital role for Indian cricket, not just in this format but all the three formats. And yes, we say that Jadeja is rested in ODIs as per GG, but if Akshar Patel makes his mark in the 50 over format as well, then you never know. I mean, we can see him replacing Jadeja in the ODI format as well. But still, it's too early for that. But definitely in T20s, he is going to be one of those core players to watch out for building into the World Cup.
Yeah, I mean, he's already made himself such an integral part of that setup. And we have another comment that goes on to say that Jaddu has been a key in the red ball format mainly. He hasn't been that impactful in the white ball format recently. That's where, you can get someone like an Akshar and he becomes a very important player in the squad. That's definitely true. And I think there was this comment on Abhishek Sharma that I wanted to bring to everyone's attention that, Abhishek Sharma needs to play, needs to play more and more domestic cricket to be in that Indian setup soon. Feeling bad for Ruturaj Gaikwad after doing so much of hard work. Yeah, Sanchit, I think even you'd agree with me, right? That I think they'll have to, perform more consistently in domestic cricket and in the IPL to kind of make a case for themselves. And I'm sure those opportunities will, again come their way as well. And yeah, we have Subodh also going to add that too much excitement of this series as the GG era is beginning and first major series after the T20 World Cup. Subodh seems to have forgotten that we did have the Zimbabwe series. So unless you don't treat that as important and this as more important, then well, yeah, we might have to have another conversation. And we have another comment that goes on to say we have to fill in like for like replacements of many important players who have just retired and also who are on the verge of retirement. So it's the right time for a transition to happen. Yeah, of course, I think having that seamless transition process is imperative, right? Going ahead too.
Exactly. Yes, I think this problem will happen for India in the longer format. I would say in T20s and ODI still I mean, even you would agree that we have lots of players who are well equipped to actually take us through that transition phase. We have lots of quality players already in the limited overs format. So ODIs and T20s, I don't think India will have a major problem in terms of transition. But in the Test format, yes, I mean, we might be facing a little bit of a problem, especially when someone like a Ravichandran Ashwin, Ravindra Jadeja, and even someone like a Virat Kohli or even Rohit Sharma retires. Then who can be those players to take us through that transition? Because that is the problem we really need to think about slowly, maybe not in the 1 or 2 years time, but we really need to at least try out those kind of players. So this home season that is upcoming, we are playing 5 test matches against 3 against Bangladesh, 2 against New Zealand, or was it the other way around? I can't remember. But these 5 matches, I would love to see India playing those domestic spinners as well in the squad. Maybe not in the playing 11, but maybe in the squad just to have a sense of togetherness. So there was someone, Shahbaz Nadeem was there in some of the matches. So you have those quality players, but giving them the experience will really prove out handy.
Definitely. And today, we see our comment section go all buzzing. Let's talk about Shubham Dubey as well here. I think this season's IPL has made him such an important part of that Indian team too. We were short of all-rounders and we have a player like Shubham Dubey. I hope he continues to get those opportunities to kind of, make the most of everything he gets. And Subodh goes on to clarify that that's why I mentioned major series. Okay, Subodh. Thank you for that clarification. And we have this comment that says that Dubey, who can play good cameos, can also bowl. He's taken into both the T20 and ODI side of things now. So we're looking to have a replacement of Hardik in ODIs. That is if he's injured. And just I think dwelling on Hardik here, 2023 World Cup turned out to turning point was Hardik's injury. We didn't have the like-to-like replacement in the middle order for an all-rounder. Dubey, if he adapts well, he can easily make the squad if Hardik is injured. Ooh, that's an interesting take. So, Sanchit, again, do you see here, Shivam Dubey filling those big shoes of, say, someone like a Hardik Pandya and playing that exact like for like sort of thing, or is it a little bit of a stretch here?
I think it is a little bit of stretch if you look at the other formats. In T20s, yes, you could argue that Dubey can really fill in the shoes of Hardik Pandya in T20 format, because you really don't have to look in terms of contributing from both the departments. Hardik recently started bowling 4 overs, but before that, even he used to bowl two overs at stretch when someone like a Mohammad Siraj was in the playing 11. And that is not going to be the case in the upcoming T20 World Cups, because we'll be playing in India, we'll be playing where pitches are hard, where pitches are supporting pacers also. So Hardik may not be required to bowl all the 4 overs entirely. So it is easier for Dubey, someone like a Dubey, to maybe fill in 1 or 2 overs. But if you talk about from ODI point of view, it's still I mean it is a different conversation to have, because we want to see Shivam Dubey ball more frequently, more number of overs. So it is good that he is in the ODI squad. At least the team management is looking at that option, that okay, agar Hardik Pandya is injured, if Hardik Pandya is injured, then we have that option in Shivam Dube. Because in Indian domestic circuit as well, I don't think we have those many fast bowling all-rounders in our setup. I mean, we tried someone like a Shardul Thakur to play that Hardik Pandya kind of a role. But even for that, even for Lord Thakur, it was a different role to actually fill his shoes on. But we have someone like a Nitish Kumar Reddy who is making his name in domestic circuit. So maybe 2-3 years down the line, we can see him amongst the mix. But for now, I think it's good that we are looking at that possibility that, okay, agar Hardik Pandya injured hote, if he's injured, then we have someone like a Shivam Dube. So if he's in the 11, if Shivam Dube is in the 11, I would love for him to bowl at least 4 to 5 overs in this series. That would really give me confidence going forward, building for that 2027 World Cup.
And I think, just adding on to your point here, he goes on to say that Dube has to work on his consistency of scoring and also has to bowl more often to, get that stability. If he adapts in ODI as well, then he can be that like-to-like replacement. I think that sounds better is what he goes on to add, which is a fair point. And again, talking about names that didn't make the cut, let's also look at Yuzi Chahal. I think this is a name that you would also, probably be thinking about, plays for your favorite franchise as well. Now, he failed to, find a spot in the T20 side of things, has been a part of the victorious T20 World Cup squad, did not get a game there. Somewhere, do you think, Yuzi Chahal's time is up? Is he not going to get more opportunities? I mean, he's just 34, right? Is it too soon to be just writing him off?
I think it's too soon to write him off entirely in this format. I mean, we'll definitely play lots of T20 series and we will be seeing certain players being tried and tested out. But in terms of finding way into the playing 11, it is looking a little bit difficult because Akshar Patel has already nailed his place in the playing 11 or in the T20 format at least. And if you look at his direct competition, you have someone like a Kuldeep Yadav, who is arguably one of our best bowlers in this particular format. Not just in this format, but all three formats, I would say. So is Yuzi Chahal better than Kuldeep Yadav? Nah, I don't think we can agree on that. His other competition is Ravi Bishnoi, who has actually done decently whenever he was given opportunities in this format. So I think the biggest downfall of Yuzvendra Chahal's career was that his inability to bat as a tail ender, because that got him demoted in terms of the pecking order. Even fielding point of view has not been given that kind of confidence by the team management that he will be preferred over someone like a Kuldeep Yadav or even Ravi Bishnoi for that matter. So somewhere if you look at the pecking order, Yuzi Chahal falls maybe third or fourth at best in terms of our spinners. But that doesn't mean that he's a bad player. He's outdated or something like that. It just means that we have too much quality already in our squad, and that is a good problem to have, I would say. So for someone like a Yuzi Chahal, definitely not the end, but at the moment, in terms of the pecking order, it is looking a little bit unlikely.
Yeah, definitely a fair point there, Sanchit. And even, while just reviewing the squads, I think another set of names that I thought, had probably the likes of Ishan Kishan, Tilak Verma, and even Prithvi Shaw, right? It was quite surprising because Prithvi Shaw again, came in with so much promise. A lot of people had just, pinned so many hopes on him. But again, this trio somewhere, has fallen behind in that pecking order, right? Again, it goes to show, the kind of talent we have, the, problems of abundance that we keep, talking about so much. What did you make about this?
Prithvi Shaw, I would say it is a case of a very unfortunate player. I mean, when he came onto the news, when he came onto to the rise of his career, I mean, just recently, just yesterday, I was looking at those old posts which was made by media that he scored 546 of 530 balls in as a 14-year-old kid, and he was named as the next Sachin Tendulkar coming through the rise of Mumbai cricket. And when you look at those headlines, when you look at those articles 10 years later, it is sad to see. I mean, what happened to this poor boy. But when you look at the pecking order right now, as we said, he's an opener, and we already have lots of options in the opening. I mean, we can make an entire playing 11 of Team India's potential openers in this particular format, and still Prithvi Shaw might not make it to the reserves as well. So that is the problem that he is having at the moment. But if you talk about the other names, I'm still not going to panic over someone like a Tilak Verma, because I really rate him highly, especially in the limited overs format. I feel that he was rushed a little bit too early into the team management when he made his way ahead of the ODI World Cup. I think he debuted in the Asia Cup just before the World Cup, if I'm not wrong. So I felt that that was a little bit rushed, but he is definitely a player to watch out for. I feel that the technique that he has, the being a left-hander and also occasionally giving you those few overs, maybe he can play you that Yuvraj Singh kind of a role. I'm not going to compare them. Definitely two different kind of players. But if you look at it from the skill set point of view, if he's groomed properly, if he's developed properly, he's definitely a player to watch out for. Maybe not in the T20s. We have lots of options, but I would definitely want to see him in the mix in the ODI circuit as well.
Yeah, definitely. I hope this trio, still keeps their heads held up high, because there are a lot of opportunities that's coming their way. And we have this comment that says Prithvi Shaw is far, far, far away from the Indian team. Guy lacks the consistency, fitness, and also a temperament. And I can see a Vinod Kambli in Prithvi Shaw.
That's true.
Potential is 200, but temperament has unfortunately ruined him. And the other comment also goes on to add that Shaw is a live example of many opportunities given but just not grabbed. Given the depth we have, you don't get that many chances, which is definitely a fair point, and the kind of reality we live in as well. But I think talking about making the most of opportunities, we have the likes of KL Rahul and Shreyas Iyer, who find their names in that ODI scheme of things, but not in the T20 side of things. We have a lot of experts who have, kind of just written them off from this format because of the strike rate and that whole discourse on strike rate and acceleration. So, Sanchit, which side of the debate do you find yourself on? I mean, are they too outdated to play T20s, or are we just not looking at them as options anymore?
From ODI point of view, well, I'd like to answer this. I'm firstly very happy for someone like a Shreyas Iyer because I feel that he is a very, very important player in our ODI side, and he has already proved what a player that he is at number 4. For years, for the last decade or so, India has been having that problem of who is that missing piece at number 4. We have tried so many players. We have tried Ajinkya Rahane in 2015 World Cup. We have tried 3D Vijay Shankar in 2019 World Cup. We have tried so many players, and unfortunately, India has never found a way to actually solve that number 4 problem. But now, finally, confidently, we can say that Shreyas Iyer is that missing piece of the puzzle, and he has delivered exceptionally well in the World Cup. Also, scoring, I think we all talk about the Virat Kohli innings of the semi-final that he played against New Zealand, but for me, the best innings of that World Cup has to be Shreyas Iyer's innings against New Zealand. The kind of innings that he played, the kind of intent that he actually showed in that match in a World Cup semi-final. I mean, very few players play the way that he played in that semi-final. So I'm really happy that he managed to find a way to solve that issue that he had with his contract. And hopefully that certain things don't happen in the future. But really good to see him come back into the ODI squad. As far as KL is concerned, he's a very controversial player to talk about. And we all love to give our opinions. We all love to give our views. I personally am not a huge fan of KL Rahul, the limited overs batter. I feel that he's a quality longer format batter. But in ODIs, I would say that he's not a bad batter, but I would say that the option that we have in terms of wicket keepers in our squad are better than him in the pecking order. So somewhere I feel that India missed a trick by getting KL Rahul back in the ODI squad because the last innings that he played had to be that the final. I mean, nothing about his technique, nothing about his talent, but I feel that you can't really play those kind of innings in a World Cup final where you don't even rotate innings well. And now we have rewarded him with a way back into the ODI squad. So somewhere, as a fan, with my personal opinion, I'm not really too keen with KL Rahul in the ODI mix at the moment because obviously you had other options in terms of wicket keepers. I mean, someone like a Sanju Samson who has been doing well in the ODI circuit. I think he's averaging close to 50, 60, and he scored 100 in the last ODI that he played against South Africa in the series deciders. So somewhere I feel that it is a little bit harsh on someone like a Sanju Samson and even Ishan Kishan for that matter, who has not had a bad ODI career so far. So for someone like a KL Rahul in ODIs, I'm not a big fan. Hopefully, he proves me wrong and he proves everyone wrong in the longer run. But at the moment, if you ask me my personal opinion, I hope that he finds a way to actually prove me wrong at least.
And I think the comment section also agrees with you, Sanchit, because they say KL Rahul cross, and then even that 66 of 107 with 1 4 will definitely hurt for a lifetime. And again, we will be happy to be proven wrong on this platform if KL Rahul can actually put up decent performances and kind of address that whole strike rate conundrum, the elephant in the room that definitely needs to be addressed as well. And Uttam, I think, goes back a little to the past year, who says Raidu was good at number 4, but some reasons pulled him back. Well, yeah, a TD player definitely
He
challenged
averaged
his place.
50, I think. Yeah. He
Yeah.
averaged 50, 56, I guess, at number 4, which was just one bad ODI series, and he was, hopefully that was the issue that we had with the team management back then. But now we can say that we have moved past that traumatic period.
That's very true. And Raidu, for his own credit, has retired from international cricket. We see him play for India champions, in the WCL recently. He's into commentary and other side of things. But very interesting times, to see that we have players, come up at this rate. And again, Sanjay, just looking at the ODI side of things, I think one of the more excited points that I was, looking forward to talking to you was about Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli, right? Just so much of reports and sources that said that the duo might not want to play this ODI series. But now that we have Gautam Gambhir, and he's a strict enforcer, he'd not allow his players to just rest it out. But now that Rohit and Virat have kind of given up on their T20 side of things, can we expect a longer run in ODIs and Tests?
Definitely, yes. I think that is a great thing for all of the Indian fans as well. Not just the team management, but for all the Indian fans to look at the final leg of arguably two of the greatest Indian cricket has ever seen. So,
Yeah.
as fans, we should be excited of what is set to come in the next 3 to 4 years down the line, building ahead to that 2027 World Cup. So, we would definitely be seeing more of Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma in the limited overs as well as in the longer format. Now that the T20 cricket retirement, retiring after a high, I mean, winning the World Cup and retiring, nothing gets better than that. So, we would be seeing Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma play maximum ODI series, maximum test series going into the future. And it's really good because ODI is a format where you really don't have too much time to prepare, too much number of games to prepare, because maximum you play nowadays due to the ODI Super League is 3 matches in a series, and that is too less, I would say. If you look at the number of T20s you play over the year, you play, I mean, Jehan already commented, you play 35 T20s in the next 1 year
Yeah.
already. So, but if you look at the ODI's point of view, I don't think we play more than 10 games ahead of the Champions Trophy. And that is a really sad thing to see, because we have such a quality ODI side. We have seen that in the World Cup. Yes, unfortunately fell at the last hurdle, but that doesn't take away from the fact that India is arguably one of the greatest ODI side currently. So to see that squad being wasted due to the lack of ODIs being played at the international circuit, you would want your best players to play maximum ODIs, building ahead into the World Cup and Champions Trophy, of course. So it's really good to see Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli in the mix. And from personal records point of view also, maybe all the Virat Kohli fans, all the Rohit Sharma fans will be looking at this series pretty closely. So really excited, and hopefully they have a great run in their last stretch of their careers.
Fingers crossed for that. But Sanchit, again, small segue here, and because you're a researcher yourself, I think it's fair to ask you this question. Now, of course, Virat and Rohit are not going to be playing in the T20 side of things, and when you look at it from a broadcasting and marketing side of things, it is going to take a big hit, right? And now, when you look at ODIs, a lot of people think it's a dying format. It's so boring. Like, who's going to watch like 8 to 10 hours of cricket? It gets a little annoying that way. But now that this duo is, like going to be just playing ODIs and tests, do you think there's going to be a revival of ODIs of sort, and again a renewed interest just to see this duo?
Definitely, yes. I think that is the point which is being spoken quite a lot on social media. I mean, we have already seen the buzz for the Sri Lanka series being created right from the middle of the Zimbabwe tour itself. And already
Exactly.
Subodh has mentioned in the comments earlier that this is the first major series after the World Cup. Why? Because obviously you have these big names playing in this tour. So I agree that ODI and Test cricket, I mean, we are of that generation where we grew up watching the longer formats. We have grew up watching ODI cricket at its peak. We have grew up watching Test cricket at its peak. So to see these two prestigious format die down in the recent years was a little bit sad for us fans to see. But now, hopefully, with these big players playing maximum games in these tours, this is a good future to have, and we would see lots of good number of revenue being created commercially, and also new fans turning up to watch this particular format. So after the World Cup, I've also noticed that many new fans have started taking up this sport seriously, especially from USA point of view. I've actually interacted with quite a lot of football fans, quite a lot of basketball fans who started watching cricket due to the World Cup. So for them to watch Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma play ODI cricket, that can be their way to get into cricket seriously. So exciting times indeed, and hoping that the revival of the longer formats is set, and we will have a great future.
Yeah, you never know. Virat and Rohit could, indirectly pull off this revival of ODIs and Tests, because they will be playing so much there. And from a marketing and broadcasting POV, it just makes sense, right? And we have comments that go on to add that, the body language of Virat and Rohit is going to be so different, coming into the series. They're coming back to play as world champions, and that itself is going to give them such a massive boost. I think fans, we are going to pretty much love that. And a very brilliant point here. And even the hunger, will be more to grab the Champions Trophy 2025. Well, we're unsure if India will be participating because the Champions Trophy is happening in Pakistan. Let's see how the political tensions and things kind of play out there. And Virat and Rohit, of course, have a great past against Sri Lanka. The kind of scores they have raked up. Records just literally speak for themselves there. And yes, looking forward to another 200 by Rohit. Well, yeah, we are not complaining, if he can bring that slam bang cricket again and notch up another 200. This is again, keeping in mind his previous record versus Sri Lanka. And I think we still have Test supporters in our comments who says nothing beats Test cricket. Can watch it forever. I can stop watching T20 for Test, purest format of the sport. Lovely comment. We can 100% agree with this. And I think we really enjoy Test matches. And yeah, no one can match the drama, excitement, and thrill of Test cricket. Long live Test cricket.
So good to
Fingers
see these
crossed.
kind of comments, because
Yeah.
even personally, I am a huge admirer and religiously follow Test cricket from my childhood. So it's so good to see that we have these kind of comments already. So we
Exactly.
have a big Test season coming up. I mean, 5 at home, then the big Border Gavaskar tour in Australia. So pretty exciting times, and we will definitely be loving each and every moment.
Absolutely, just waiting to live those moments as well. And again, focusing on our ODI discussion side of things, a very interesting call up is that of Riyan Parag, who earns his maiden ODI call up. He made that international debut versus Zimbabwe, had a very I'd say satisfactory series, average series, because scoring 24 runs from 2 innings is definitely not the Riyan Parag we know. We've seen the IPL performances, we've seen the tough years he has had, we've seen enough number of podcast episodes to where he's reflected on his struggles and everything. But were you a little surprised to see his name in the ODI side of things, and would he potentially be experimented as that number 4?
I was not honestly surprised with Riyan Parag making his way to the ODI circuit, because I've been following his domestic career pretty seriously over the last 2-3 years, and the kind of performances that he's been putting up for Assam in List A and even in the longer format as well has been pretty extraordinary. And after being given the role of captaincy, he's been pretty good in this particular format. So really happy to see Riyan Parag being given that opportunity. I'm really not sure whether he'll be given a playing 11 spot so early in his career, but just to have him in the squad itself is a big feeling personally, because he deserves it due to his record in List A cricket, and hopefully in the upcoming tours we will see Riyan Parag play more in the playing 11.
Definitely, fingers crossed for that. And again, talking about your franchise, Sanchit, Rajasthan Royals. Now, when we look at the selection committee and how they've ignored Sanju Samson from the ODI side of things, it was very tricky, right? Because when you look at Sanju Samson's ODI numbers, they aren't bad. I mean, imagine your last ODI from the time you've been dropped is that century, versus South Africa way back in 2023 December. And a lot of fans, I think, including you, would be a little disappointed that he didn't make the cut here. And he could be a premier wicketkeeper in this format, right? So, how do you think he will deal with this setback, and any rationale you think of this exclusion?
That is the problem which I had with the ODI squad, and somewhere I feel that the biggest the biggest disappointment of the ODI squad announcement has to be Sanju Samson, because obviously KL Rahul coming back into the ODI squad and taking the place of someone who has not done really anything wrong in this format so far since his debut. It is really unfair on Sanju Samson. Yes, you can debate about his position in T20. He's been given quite a role, and I think he's averaging close to 28, 29 in T20 cricket. And you have those options already in T20 cricket for Sanju Samson. So that position you can debate. But in ODIs, when you have less options in terms of wicketkeeper batters already, you can't really be too harsh on someone like a Sanju Samson, because I felt that he deserved a place at least in the ODI mix, because he's a quality player to have and he's already averaging really well. And the innings that he played against South Africa in those conditions in that particular series, I mean, it has to be really rewarded with a longer run. So somewhere I feel that India really missed a trick by getting in KL Rahul back over someone like a Sanju Samson. But yeah, I mean, that's the nature of the game. Someone had to miss out, and unfortunately, it was Sanju Samson. Hopefully, for his sake, hopefully for Indian cricket's sake, we find a way and we have a healthy competition, not a toxic one. We have a healthy competition for that role, and overall, it should contribute to India's success.
Definitely. I think the larger picture, of course, has to be Indian cricket as well. And we have another comment that says, I'm a RR fan too. Fans are more emotional for Sanju rather than getting practical, which is, I think, a fair way to see it. And Sanju Samson will definitely, make a case for himself with some great performances. And even I think this comment makes sense. So, Riyan Parag played that Syed Mushtaq Ali trophy like a beast. And I think his domestic numbers have been just phenomenal. Here's hoping he can kind of translate that to international cricket as well, because we don't see a lot of players from the northeast get opportunities, and fingers crossed he can kind of make the most of it. And I think we did talk about Harshit Rana a little briefly, in our conversation earlier. But now he has earned his maiden ODI call up on the back of a breakthrough IPL season. I think we'll call it breakthrough because, man, I mean, he was just bowling brilliantly. The wickets speak for himself, the confidence, the aura of him, 19 wickets. So, Sanchit, are you pleased to see him in the ODI scheme of things, and fingers crossed for a long career here as well?
Definitely, yes. I think Harshit Rana is someone who is really a big potential of to be possibly one of the most exciting talents in Indian cricket. So he has already started off well. He has had a wonderful domestic year. He has had a wonderful IPL for that matter, and he's now rewarded with an ODI cap. So it will be interesting to see whether he will be making the cut in the playing 11. But if he does, I personally want to see him in the playing 11, because I would love to see Harshit Rana ball maximum overs as he can. Then we can like properly analyze whether he is to be looked at as an option for the longer format, or maybe we could just push him in the T20 format, because we have to be tactical about how to manage players workload very carefully, because we don't want to create doubts in players mind like we did with certain players. That we need to give them assurance that we are looking at you for this particular format, we are looking at you for this particular tournament. So for that, we can only analyze about Harshit Rana after one or two tours. Giving him game time at the moment has to be one of the biggest priority. Then we can be at the position to decide, okay, Harshit is doing really well. Can we get him to the shorter format? Can we look at him as an option for the 26 World Cup? Or can we just keep him keep him getting game time for the longer format, and then maybe look at him as a potential option for the Champions Trophy and the World Cup? So yeah, I mean, pretty happy with the selection, but we really can't be talking about whether he is going to be a potential 2026 squad member or not at the moment. But jitna game time ho sake, I think that will be great, not just for Harshit Rana, but also the other players who will be making their debut in the next 12 months or so.
Yeah, I mean, because when you just look at the ODI side of things, there's just so many interesting inclusions. I think that's where, Khalil Ahmed's inclusion kind of raised my eyebrows. I was like, okay, I mean, we have seen Khalil Ahmed, the ODI bowler. I personally don't see, like, it doesn't inspire a lot of confidence for me. But I think bowling in tandem with Siraj and Arshdeep, being in that sort of an environment will help him nurture and, kind of grow as a pacer, right? So, Sanchit, what do you make of Khalil Ahmed, that ODI bowler, and does he inspire confidence for you?
He was really doing well in domestic circuit and even in the IPL when he was bowling for Delhi Capitals. Maybe 2022 season was his one of the best in IPL as well. So being that left arm pacer also always helps in being that X factor in any kind of a side. So for Khalil, it has always been an advantage for him being a left arm pacer. But now you already have someone like an Arshdeep Singh who has done well in T20 cricket and is now looking to make his place into the ODI format as well. So it will be very interesting to see whether India persist with Arshdeep as a left arm pacer, or whether they look at someone like a Khalil Ahmed to be that left arm pacer for India in ODI format. So that is going to be one of the talking points for from the ODI point of view. But personally, I would love to see only just one left arm pacer in our ODI 11, and it has to be Arshdeep. I mean, come on, you have to reward his T20 numbers with a longer run in the ODI circuit, and then see whether he can keep those keep that consistency for 10 overs, because it is very difficult to bowl 4 overs and then after that ball 10 overs at a stretch. Very few players can master that art. Of course, Jasprit Bumrah has to be one of those names, but it would be great for Indian cricket if we can find a way to have those kind of bowlers in our side. So at starters, I would love to see Arshdeep play all the matches, and then maybe like we can take a call on that. So for Khalil, he's in the squad, good for him, but I'm really not sure how he makes a place in the 11 with the options that we have.
And we have a comment that goes on to add, never understood Khalil Ahmed's inclusion back in the Indian team. Again, we hope that he can prove us wrong with those great performances. Because just looking at India's legacy, with left arm paces, they've just come in and gone so fast. My mind goes back to Barinder Shan. Then you also have
Tran,
the likes of
I was going to
Nathu.
talk
Yeah,
about that.
yeah, he just came in so fast and just faded out entirely, right? So I hope Khalil, kind of cement his place, if not, make a mark. But I think with the likes of Arshdeep, it will, kind of be very difficult. And as you said, I think they will look for only one left arm pacer. So yeah, let's see how that kind of pans out as well. And yeah, Sanchit, almost as we reach the end of our discussion as well. Now, this is the first series in the Gautam Gambhir era. So, what are you most looking forward to and, kind of expecting to come out of this series? Let's look at it from a short term perspective and a long term perspective as well.
From the T20 point of view, I'm really looking forward to see the kind of approach that we put out in terms of the brand of cricket that we play. So when we had Rohit Sharma leading as the T20 skipper, we saw him leading the charge, taking the attack to the opposition in the power play itself. Him playing that selfless role, attacking the best bowlers of the opposition. We have seen that onslaught that he has had against Mitchell Stark in the T20 World Cup. So who can play those kind of innings now in the T20 format? That is going to be an interesting thing. And whoever opens, whether we will be playing the same brand of cricket, whether we will be playing the same template, that is going to be an interesting thing to watch out for. So from T20 point of view, there are lots of things to really look forward to. It is clearly unpredictable. But knowing Gautam Gambhir, he's someone who would really want us to keep playing that aggressive brand of cricket. And he is someone who really values batting depth, bowling depth, squad depth. So we would potentially see some big bold calls in the playing 11 itself. We will maybe an all-rounder in the top 4, maybe an all-rounder as an opener, and quite a lot of unorthodox calls as well. We have seen that in the IPL with Sunil Narine opening the attack. So whether it will be translated to Indian cricket as well, you never know. I mean, we have someone like a Washington Sundar in the squad who is known for his batting ability. So will we see a promotion for him? Will we see a promotion for Shivam Dube at the top of the order? So those kind of experiments you can definitely expect in T20 format. You can experiment because you have a longer gap till the next World Cup. But in ODIs, I am really looking forward to see definitely Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma, the way that they play this particular format. Carry on where you left off in Ahmedabad on 19th of November, because I don't think we should change anything in our ODI template. We are arguably one of the best ODI teams in the world, irrespective of whatever happened in Ahmedabad that day. But yeah, I mean, we want to see the same kind of template being played. But it will be very interesting to see on different player roles. As we mentioned earlier in the discussion, how can we treat someone like a Shivam Dube, whether he makes it in the playing 11, whether he's looked at as an option for Hardik Pandya's backup, whether he'll be bowling or not. So those kind of calls, those kind of player management calls will be really looking forward to in this particular series. But yeah, overall really excited to see, because it is so unpredictable. Whatever happens, it is good for Indian cricket. We as fans should be excited of whatever unfolds in the next 12 to 24 months, and hopefully it is the start, not just the start of GG era, but it is the start of a domination era for Indian cricket.
Absolutely. And I think the comment section very much agrees with you here, because we have one point that goes on to say we should look at taking boxes in all the respective formats. We have to manage the workload of players. Equal opportunity for all should be given. Each player has to be monitored in detail. I think when you have the likes of Gautam Gambhir at the helm and his wonderful, coaching staff as well, it's definitely exciting times. And I'm sure, this will be one of their biggest priorities. And we have a very aspirational comment here that goes on to say Rohit and Kohli lifting that 2027 ODI World Cup under the GG era. Fingers crossed. If this happens, you've heard it here first. And another comment that goes on to add that we need to be aggressive now and not sit back. We have just got a coach who will love that aggressive brand of cricket. I think the number of times I've heard Gambhir say, a winning dressing room is a happy dressing room. I think it's just ringing bells. He will definitely do everything to play that aggressive brand of cricket. We have seen some impactful interviews in the past where he has made bold statements. I think as head coach also we can expect the same. He's not going to mince his words. And I think, Sanchit, this was a comment about Washington Sundar, where you mentioned that he can be given that longer rope. Injuries are a big concern for Washington Sundar. I hope he can, just be more consistent and not fall prey to injuries, which is not in his control, but let's kind of see that. And another comment goes on to add, let the GG era commence with an ultimate goal of just playing good cricket and getting the cup at the end. Full support to GG and all backing the boys in blue. Of course, this is something as fans we definitely need to do as much as we can. And Pratmesh also goes on to add, Shami will play a crucial role in Champions Trophy. Well, it's an year later. We have to see how Shami is shaping up. Right now, we see the man in broadcasting and, quick buzz and that side of things. So let's see if he, is able to recover in time to, kind of make it, for this Champions Trophy. And again, this is an aspirational comment that says Virat and Gambhir holding the trophy together is needed before GTA 6. Which, yeah, I think a lot of gaming fans and cricket
Nice.
fans will be hoping for, the intersection that we find ourselves at. So, yeah, guys, that pretty much does conclude our discussion. First up, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Sanchit for joining me today and sharing these lovely insights. I think we have comprehensively analyzed both the squads, covered almost all the aspects. And to all our lovely viewers as well, you guys were so articulate and wonderful in the comment section. So thank you so much for that. I think you added a lot of value to our discussion as well. And I hope you had something to take away. And we will be doing live shows like this, with cricket fans. So make sure you're following Never in the Backfoot and our guest Sanchit, across his social media platforms. He posts a lot of lovely edits and content. So, kind of make sure to follow him as well. And yeah, guys, that's all for us. That's all for now from us. And until next time, stay safe and take care. Thank you, Sanchit.
No worries. Thank you, guys.